So this is the first bit. You have to make the starter for the actual bread. So you need 25 grams of the starter. And I've taken the starter from my mother starter, which I keep in the fridge. So you just measure that out, 25 grams. Then you take what I've already measured is 37.5 grams of flour, and you just put that in. Like that. And then you put in 37.5 grams of hot, warm water, so like no more than 80 degrees Fahrenheit, which I just measure out. So I've just measured out, I just literally just put some hot water with some cold water, and it's like hand temperature. It's, like I said, no more than 80 degrees because it kills the yeast otherwise. And then what we do is put 37 of water, I'm going to have the water in as well. Right. And then you give it a stir, and I'll show you the result. So that's the result. So once it's stirred, it's like that. Then you put the lid on, and then you put it in a warm place. So I tend to put it into my oven, so I can literally put it into like the top oven, and then I just put my light on, and that gives it some heat. You don't have to do this all day, you can just warm it up through that, and then let it warm up slightly. And in 12 hours you do the same again, so you put so it's 1 part to 4 parts, so it's 1 part 1 part starter to 4 parts flour to 4 parts water. So in 12 hours you then add to this mixture 37.5 grams of flour and 37.5 grams of water again, and then 12 hours on from there you then do that again. So it's 37.5 grams of flour and 37.5 grams of water, warm water, and by the end of that you should have 250 grams of starter that you can use to make bread. And you just adjust that to the amount that you need. So it's always 1 part to 4 parts, 1 part starter to 4 parts water and 4 parts flour, and it's all-purpose flour, like plain flour basically. So this is the third feeding. So you do about 37.5 of flour, and you put it into the starter, and then you put in the 37.5 grams of water, and mix it up. It should be this sort of consistency. And then you leave that for about 5 to 6 hours, and it should start bubbling, and you can make your bread. So I just, for this 5 or 6 hours, I put it into the oven. So I just turn the light on, and that should be warm enough for it to rise then. So now we're at the stage where the starter is ready. There's a few bubbles on top. I've got 175 grams of water, and it's warm water, like warm to touch water, not too hot because it kills it. And you've got 375 grams of flour, strong flour, so bread flour, 7 grams of salt, and that's about it. And then you mix that all together. So what I tend to do is put it all into the bowl, and this is 175 grams of water, but I don't put all of it in because actually the flour might not take all of the water, so I leave a little bit and then just see how it goes and then just mix it. So it's coming away from the bowl now. You can see the sort of texture. If I stop it, it's sort of sticky to touch. So at this stage, if you were like kneading by hand or making it by hand, you'd then add some olive oil. So I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil, not very much, just to give it what it usually gets if you knead it by hand, so it incorporates in. And then I just knead it for as long as I want to, in like 10 minutes. So when it's ready, it should look like that, sort of springy to touch. So then just take it out. And basically roll it into a ball and then put it into a container to rise. So you can see it's into a ball now, and I've oiled the container and then just put some cling film over the top and literally just put it into prove using the light if you want to. It's nice and warm, and do it for about 3 to 5 hours. It depends how long it takes to double in size. So now it's been about 3 to 4 hours, doubled in size. Looks a bit like that. And what you've got to do is knock it back, so it's basically punching it. And it'll look like this, taking it out of the bowl, and then I'm just going to shape it to go into the mould. So I've now shaped it and then put it into the mould. I'll just cover it up and then put that into the fridge, and put it into the fridge for at least 12 hours, and it slowly improves the flavour by putting it in the fridge, and it's got to be double in size again. So I've taken the bread out of the fridge and it's doubled in size, and then I put the oven to about 220, and I've put some water in the bottom to sort of humidifies the oven really, and then basically you just whack it in. I do a slice down the middle, and that just helps with it to rise basically. So quite a deep slash, and then just put it in. And then you leave it at 220 for 30 minutes, and then you turn it down to 190 for 15 minutes. So tip out the bread when it's ready. It makes like a hollow sound. There you go, and it's cooked.